What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between. My name is Bass from the Past, and joined alongside me is the one, the only Chase Nuclear Nukem. Welcome to NECC Rocket League. I believe this is week number 5, and we are excited here to be able to open up this incredible week. Chase, how are you doing on this afternoon, my friend?
You know what, Bass? I am doing amazing, and thank you for asking. I'm very elated to see Champlain today face off against West Point, and I couldn't be asking to open with someone better than Bass from the Past himself. We do have the first 2 blocks. It's going to be a very exciting Challengers Division match in this first match. Bass, what are your thoughts going into this first game?
Well, I'm expecting a very tense back and forth here. Both of these two teams have had some pretty good records coming into this one. Not necessarily equal, but pretty similar. Champlain coming to this one 3-1. Unfortunately, off of a loss last week, which was a bit of a hot mess for them as they went down 0-3. So really a bit of momentum going against them. But besides that, 3 wins in a row. So they've done pretty well throughout the season. Meanwhile, on the other side, West Point are 2-2. Bit of an up and down season, starting off at 2-0, then taking 2 losses in a row as well. So both of these teams coming into this week, they want to regain it. They want to retry, come back, and have an even better week. So I'm expecting a tense back and forth between two incredible squads. Chase, what are you hoping for going into this first game, my friend?
Well, I can tell you the only thing I'm hoping for is just very close matches, right? We look at West Point's games over the past couple of weeks, and the games that they've lost, they've never lost 0-3, right? And most of their matches have been very back and forth against Alabama Black or Howard Community College or even NTC. It was very close sets. So going into this game, I just want to see a back and forth, right? If we go to game 5, I'm going to be happy, 100%. It's a little bit interesting looking at the dynamics of the teams, though, because Champlain, an all freshman roster for the most part, aside from Billy Gates, the senior on the roster, and West Point's roster is pretty much all over the place. They have a sophomore, a senior, and a junior. So we're seeing a little bit in difference in kind of ranks throughout college coming into here. I think nonetheless, it's going to be an amazing match going into today. And I'm just excited to see what these teams have for us.
Absolutely. And it looks like we've got all of the teams into the match now, just waiting for them to hit the pitch, and then we will all be all good to go. But as you mentioned, it's a bit interesting. Champlain, an all freshman team or majority freshman team. Meanwhile, West Point, an all mechanical engineering team. All 3 of their players are all majoring mechanical engineering. So it's going to be the young guns versus the mechanical engineers for this first one, it kind of seems. But honestly, I'm just excited to see what they've got on the pitch aside from their college life. I know that they also want to be a competitive squad, and it looks like indeed we do have the teams ready or just about here. And yeah, this back and forth is going to be pretty interesting. I think the biggest thing I want to see is a game 1 full of really intense action and no hesitation. A lot of teams start off a little bit slower. They're trying to figure out how their opponents want to play. And well, considering the fact that last week Champlain got swept 0-3, they can't really afford to have a slow start. If they get 2 down, they're probably not going to be able to recover. So we'd like to see them come out here all guns ablazing. So hopefully we can see this in this very first match. As we said, just making sure that everybody's in the match and that we are all good to go. Oh, and indeed, I think we are. The teams have hit the pitch, and we have got our very first match just about underway. West Point in the orange, Champlain in the blue. Chase, take us away, my friend.
And we're going to go on kickoff, and it looks like Jake and Bake's going to win the kickoff, going to hit it back into the back corner. We're going to see Billy Gates go for a pass on mid, but Humphrey's not going to be there in time. Jake and Bake going to get the 3rd rotate, come back, but Santa's going to be there to dip it back in the mid, and we're just seeing a lot of back and forth play from both teams looking to get something off these passes. Not seeing a whole lot, though. Almost a shot on goal, but Jake and Bake is going to be there to stop it. Wow, and we are going to see the first goal come out to Santa. If you look right here too, a majority of Champlain's team was in the net. They just can't be grouped up like that, right? You can't be grouped up around the ball. You have to be ready for those rotates.
Absolutely. It's just a bit of chaos in front of the net. And yes, it wasn't the greatest touch out of Jake and Bake to start that one off, but someone needed to have a follow-up touch. Someone needed to clear that out and not allow a follow-up shot. And unfortunately, that's not the greatest start for Champlain here, as all of a sudden West Point are up 1-0 within 30 seconds. They look to be up 2-0 here as they've got another good attack. Follow-up from Jake and Bake, though, is not going to arrive as a clear from Billy Gates wanted to start an attack for Champlain possibly, but instead it goes back into their half again. Reverb's got a shot here and nails it into the back of the net there. Again, another missed touch, unfortunately, on the back end for Champlain as Humphreys just puts us directly in the middle. But again, preventable openings that really need to be shut down soon for Champlain.
Yeah, a little bit of style coming out from Reverb there as well. I don't really know if he needed to flip his car upside down to hit that shot, but he definitely did. And it was very interesting and entertaining to watch. What we're seeing too is Billy Gates going in for a shot. He is going to get 50 though, not going to be able to take it up. So Jake and Bake's going to put it off the back wall. We really are seeing Champlain try to get something here. It's in front of the net. You guys got to hit this. Nice. Great shot from Jake and Bake, waiting for them to try to reset it out. Just capitalized on the position.
And there it is for Chaos on one end to Chaos on the other. Again, these guys are East 2. This is our Challengers division. These are teams that are very, very capable. But at the moment, it does seem like they're a little bit awkward. Not exactly sure how they want to play this one out. Plenty of time to get adjusted. But as we said, starting off strong is going to be very key here, especially for Champlain. And apparently, they do not want to go down 0-3 again. They are here and they are determined to win this one in style.
Oh my gosh, that is fresh from Jake and Bake. He kept that in the oven, correct tip, correct time, got his timing down and was able to get that goal. Gonna be able to put Champlain back on the map. This is really interesting too, because most of the time we'll see in these game ones, both teams just trying to really feel each other out, right? Just getting kind of that lay of the land. But in the first minute and a half of this game, we're seeing nothing short of aggression from both Champlain and West Point.
Yeah, this has been a very offensive game so far. Neither team has really had the strongest defense, and well, that's evident from many defensive errors that have led to all 4 of these goals. Well, I would say 3 of them pretty much besides, oh my word, besides the kickoff goal. Right now, though, it's a little bit slowed down here. You can see all of a sudden Champlain have decided to try and lock down their defense, and probably for the benefit of their team here. Jake and Bake gets a 50 out of midfield, which Billy can follow up. Humphrey should be there, but unfortunately a bit delayed, and it will be a 50-50. It won't be the end of the offense quite yet. Champlain determined to try and put in a third here. Santa, though, has a solo play, fakes out Jake in the side. Now has a chance to try and beat the defense, or at least keep them on their back foot. Reverb's up. He's going to try and take a shot with it. Oh, my word. Listen, the follow-up shot from JJ, really nice, but imagine if this first angle had gone in.
Wow. Yeah, that would have been a sick angle, but JJ was there on the rotate. It's textbook. I think we're seeing a lot of overcommitment from Champlain College. I think they just got to take a step back and trust in their teammates to be there for the rotate. Otherwise, we're going to see what we have been seeing and them just grouping up on goal and not really able to get in position where they want to be off of these touches.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see a lot of minor adjustments as the series goes on. We're only halfway through this first game, and we've got 5 goals, so I don't expect it to be this high octane the entire time. Oh, my word. Jake and Bake, with 0 boost, almost able to get the double tap, but unfortunately, Billy Gates also went up for that one. So now it's an open back end here. Champlain have got to be careful. Good save out of Jake and Bake. Is going to at least starve off the rotation for a minute. It's not going to be the end here quite yet. West Point still determined to try and put in a 4th goal and bring a 2-goal lead. Oh, my word. Chaos in front of the net yet again. Looks like Champlain will survive for now. Or excuse me, West Point. No, Champlain. My brain is not working. Champlain will survive for now. But they've got to try and shut down these opportunities before they arise. Many times we can see West Point in positions where if they have one good strike, that's the end of the game. Or the end of the play, I should say.
Yeah, it looks like Champlain stuck in your membrane, Champlain in the brain. And it looks like Champlain's also going to be pushing downfield on West Point's side. Looking for a goal here. Billy Gates is going to be able to get something simple, get in net, tie up the game 3-3. You know, we're seeing mistakes come out from either team, but I think Champlain is being a little bit too comfortable in throwing the ball in front of the net for these passing plays, and we're seeing West Point just capitalize on that. So if we can see a lot cleaner passes come out in the rest of the set, it could be really anyone's match. It's pretty neck and neck so far.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't really look like either team has the momentum entirely on their side or they're really confident in the way that they're playing. It looks a little bit panicked right now as both teams are just trying to figure out how they want to play. It's just touch the ball for the sake of trying to interrupt the other team. It's make passing plays to just try and spread out the field. There isn't much motivation behind what they're doing right now. And with a minute left, I'm waiting to see which one of these teams starts to break down a pace, try to develop more intricate play. Could possibly be a West Point here. This is a good pass. A great pass from Reverb. Oh, my word. And the follow-up shot from Santa. There's the well-developed play we were waiting for, Chase.
Nothing short of an alley-oop slam dunk. Look at that. Brought it right to him. He had the angle. He really could pick any angle he wanted to because he set him up so well. That was a great textbook goal from West Point.
Absolutely, a perfectly well-done play there. All of a sudden, West Point looking like they do indeed have the momentum on their side. Santa almost able to get a follow-up touch off the backboard, but luckily Reverb will be there, and that just might be the nail in the coffin. 5-3 with only 47 seconds left. Not a lot of time for a comeback here.
Not at all. And Reverb, as we said at the beginning of this game, looking for the redemption this week for West Point, really wanting to get back on the map, and they're starting to take this game away a bit. You know, only 2 points ahead with 40 seconds left. This is not a position Champlain wants to find themselves in, and they got to pick up the pace, hit the gas.
Yeah, it's a very interesting matchup as it stands right now. Still pretty middle of the field as both of these teams are looking about even with just a little bit of momentum starting to fall towards West Point. But again, minor changes, minor adjustments, and I believe Champlain can get themselves back into this series, but they're going to need to do so pretty confidently in game 2. With only 20 seconds left, I think we can officially say game number 1. Oh, wait a minute. I can't say it quite yet. Humphreys is up for this one. Reverb will make this save. And just as soon as I was about to say this game is going to go to West Point, indeed it will. One last spark of life here. Oh my word, for Champlain, but instead it's a counter attack. Just as soon as Champlain looked like they'd bring it within 1, all of a sudden it's 3 goals up for West Point.
You better not shout. You better not cry, because Santa is coming to town and ending the match 6-3. I don't see them really getting any more off of this unless they can get a, you know, just a cheeky kickoff goal here. Looks like that's not going to be the case. It's going to touch the ground. First game's going to go to West Point. And really, the main thing I said going into these games is that I just wanted a close series, right? That was very close for probably the first 4 minutes of this match. And then West Point kind of swept it away towards the end. Looking at the scoreboard, though, pretty consistent across the entire West Point team in terms of shots, you know, saves. Champlain struggling a bit on their defense, as we touched about earlier.
Yeah, definitely struggling a little bit. I mean, really, I don't think defense was the emphasis here pretty much at all. West Point took a total of 12 shots. Meanwhile, Champlain took a total of 9 shots. So a lot of shots both back and forth, but West Point pulled out 5 saves versus their opponents, which had 3. So Champlain definitely not enough emphasis on defense. I think at West Point towards the latter half of that game started to understand that, hey, if we don't lock down our back line, this is just going to be chaos the whole time. So good adjustments coming out from West Point here, but we definitely need to see some more adjustments out of Champlain when it comes to the back end. They did not nearly play their defense well enough, and I think that they have the capability to do so. Again, these are really good squads, as you could see before we went to our cams here. These are grand champion players. They by far know how to lock down that defense. It's just a matter of doing so and correctly changing their rotations.
Well, that and playing around each other, right? Even when we saw Reverb and Santa get that amazing goal, that alley-oop slam dunk mid-game, we're seeing nothing like that so far from Champlain. It's just very kind of textbook backboard, rotate, backboard, just trying to get a goal here instead of really playing around each other's strengths and weaknesses. So, and we've seen that from Champlain before, right? We've seen that in the Juniata match and in the Becker match. We need to see this now against this West Point game.
Absolutely, and game number 2 is going to be so incredibly important in that, as we mentioned last time, or well, just a couple of minutes ago here, Champlain, they came off of a sweep last week, so they're going to try and avoid that here and now. Starting off, well, they're going to need to make sure they get at least the second game here, otherwise West Point will be on game point. So far, though, it's looking like another tense back and forth as neither squad really has a clean opportunity yet. It's a bit of ping pong as they send it back and forth down this pitch here. Not a great touch, though, out at midfield, and JJ will take advantage of it off the backboard, but no one's there. Reverb too far in midfield, Santo too far back, and unfortunately it's a squandered opportunity for West Point, but it will not be the end of the offense quite yet.
Not at all, is we're kind of seeing West Point schmoving on him a little bit, up in their side of the field, trying to set up those plays. Jake and Bake is going to get a little aggressive here. I don't know if that's the touch JJ was looking for, but it got saved very quickly. That looked like it was going to go in goal. Billy just waiting out his time here a little bit for the rest of his team. Ooh, Jake and Bake is going to be able to get a demo on JJ. They should look for an opportunity here. As this ball is kind of running away, they're going to go ahead and back up and give possession over to West Point.
Yeah, it's still a little bit of a back and forth between the two teams, but I'm liking the rotations we're seeing out of West Point. We saw the one somewhat failed save, but again, another missed touch, but they have someone there to back each other up. The rotations are cutting down these gaps that we're seeing in Champlain, where they should be taking advantage of these gaps, aren't really even getting the opportunities to do so. West Point are playing a very nuisance type of ball game right now, and it's working great. It's really annoying. It's very frustrating for Champlain to get something together. And, well, with 3 minutes and 30 seconds and 0-0 score line, it's starting to look like West Point are getting some momentum in their favor, but that might not mean much if they're not going to be able to get one in here. This is a big opportunity. Reverb almost has the double tap off the backboard, but just not quite. Instead, it's another offense that has gone squandered to West Point, but over and over again, West Point have yet to get out of their opponent's half. They've just over and over been on offense. Champlain, though, finally do have an opportunity here. Can they get an extended pressure on their offense?
I really hope that they can. West Point, though, is showing very, very strong, just kind of hitting these shots mid and waiting for Champlain to mess up on their defense like they did heavily in the first game. And I think that's where West Point's capitalization is really being most effective on their offense.
Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, as much as there is efficiency in the offenses right now, neither team has been able to get a full play to work out in their favor. Speaking of which, that was a great opportunity for Champlain. Jake just thought there'd be a little bit more power behind that touch off the backboard, and, well, it never arose. So unfortunately, it's another wasted opportunity. But we remain at a stalemate as we pass through the halfway point here. And neither team really playing poorly, to be honest. This is a much cleaner game than we saw in game number one. Game number one was all chaos. Game number two is all patience and waiting. They are both waiting for that one opportunity to arise.
It's so funny, too, because in my experience, really looking at competitive Rocket League, it's usually the first game that they're kind of checking each other out and just seeing their opponent's abilities. Game one was nothing short of a slugfest from both teams. And going into game two, we are seeing that sort of discipline and dedication from both teams, as well as patience for the right goals. Santa looking to set up something for JJ here. Not going to be able to find it. Reverb going in, though. Oh, it's barely going to get out of the goal. JJ is going to be able to go in and barely touch that out. What a play from West Point.
Almost able to save this one. A really nice touch out of Jake and Bake, but unfortunately no one else was back besides him, so that first touch did not need to be a good save. It needed to be a perfect one, and without the follow-up touch, a rising 1-0. West Point looked to take a 2-0 lead on this series, and with a defensive error in the corner here, this is going to be a lot of relieved pressure here. Champlain have to be careful. Here comes that counterattack out of West Point. Reverb almost able to get a ridiculous shot, but the follow-up save from Humphreys was just as stellar. Again, we are seeing a much bigger emphasis on defense in game number two, and it is keeping this one tense.
Oh yeah, Reverb looking for the remix to Ignition, because that touch was crazy going into the goal. That would have, I thought, would have really messed up Champlain's defense, but they read it just in time and were able to get it out of the back half. As we now see, this is a 1-point lead with 50 seconds left. We need to see Champlain take a goal here in order to stay in this game.
Matter of fact, they needed to stay in the series. Again, they lost in a sweep last week. They do not want to lose in a sweep this week. And if they go down 2-0, they have to reverse sweep to even stay in it. But as we have another defensive error arising here, awkward play on the back end for West Point. Two players in net. Neither of them get a touch as Santa bops JJ out of the way. And 1-1 it becomes.
Man, it just goes back to overcommitting. They both did not need to go for that. Had one sat back and waited, then they could have really defended that goal. But like we were talking about earlier, Champlain adapting to the game style and waiting for West Point to make the mistakes. Very smart and patient play from Humphreys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very heads-up play we're starting to see over and over again out of both of these teams here. We're seeing a lot more methodical play, a lot more well-thought-out plays as well. My word, the offenses are really starting to click here. And all I'm thinking about is what type of overtime we're going to have, although that might not arrive here. We've got a couple more seconds on the clock, and this one's going to stay up here. Champlain have one more opportunity. Good clear out of Reverb to put it to the other half of the pitch. And we will go to overtime. Indeed, a nail-biter so far here, Chase. And I don't expect overtime to be any less hectic.
100% Bass, and overtime in game two? What? What? Off of kickoff? Excuse me?
That
Santa!
It's not how I expected this one to end, to put it simply. After a great effort out of Champlain to bring this one back, one defensive misplay, and West Point will take the overtime. What an unfortunate way to lose game number two, and now they find themselves against a West Point on game point, almost at the verge of getting swept for a second week in a row. This is such an unfortunate ending for Champlain here, Chase.
Man, and you really can't put all of the blame on Humphreys there, right? Jake went for the long rotate. Humphreys did miss, and that is what caused that goal. but that was just kind of a fumble from the kickoff going into overtime, and you've got to be ready for those plays. Like you said, going into game 3, this is going to be a 2-0 on West Point's side already. Champlain gonna have to really get in gear right now to be able to reverse sweep this set, because that's all they have in the cards right now.
Yeah, they've got to reverse sweep because they need to try and keep themselves in a winnable position. I mean, this is, again, West Point have played incredibly well here, so I don't want to take away anything from that, but Champlain have definitely been their biggest enemies right now. Small little misplays have plagued them throughout this entire game, and this was definitely the closest we've seen it so far, though, much closer than game number 1, to where it felt like this could have gone back and forth at any moment, especially with that late goal out of Champlain, but just unfortunate start for overtime, and West Point take advantage of that. This game number 3 is going to be incredibly important, again, obviously, because it could be serious point for Army, but again, if we don't see a very, very good performance out of Champlain, there's probably not a chance they take this series at all. They might get a game, but we need to see a performance and a half here. They need to dominate. Oh my word, and Billy looks to start us off strong, takes down 2 defenders and serves it for Jake and Bake perfectly.
Billy Gates with the cash money play here. Microsoft touches coming out, and Jake and Bake with the fresh goal. Wow, that's exactly what we needed to see going into this game 3, and a very heavy start from Champlain. It's like you said earlier, West Point may have the mechanical engineering team, so, you know, they may have the angles on point, but Champlain has the CS team, which means once they download the source code, it's over.
So far, it's looking like this one might not necessarily be over yet, but we are definitely seeing a huge change up from game number 2 here. All of a sudden, an electric offense has opened up for Champlain as they just unload shot after shot here. Only 30 seconds in, and this is looking to be a much, much more hectic game than game number 2. Oh, and speaking of which, open opportunity in the midfield here. No one going to jump on it for West Point, but here comes an opportunity for them on offense. Shut down immediately, though. Good dribble out of the half. And now Champlain have their chance on offense as well. Back and forth and back and forth. And indeed, I think we've gone back to this chaotic play style we saw in game number 1.
Man, I'm just tired of seeing these overcommits. Got to trust your teammates, guys. But ball's going to go right in front of goal. Humphrey's going to look for a shot, but Santa is going to be able to take it. You know, Bass, I think it's the map. I think this map just brings a new energy mid-set. I've seen it all season. The summer map just feels good, right?
Yeah, the summer map's always fun. Everybody's got to love this one. Salty Shore is an absolute, you know, it's a blessing of a map here. I'm always a big fan of whenever we're able to get the full variety here, and I'm hoping both the teams are appreciating it as well. I can tell you West Point definitely appreciating it, as this map has given them their first lead in quite some time, 1-0 with about 3:30 left. And they're playing pretty efficiently. Some nice passing plays out at midfield, but it's going to leave Humphreys in an awkward position. Santa is able to rip off a shot, and as Jake and Bake also goes for that one, West Point have got an awkward Champlain on their back heel. They've got to take advantage of this here and now, but JJ decides to abandon that play, and now they've given time for Champlain to get set up on defense here. Yeah, not any real threatening shots coming through. Oh my word, no, Reaver! Oh, was able to get that one in from a very weird position to an opportunity, a miss. All of a sudden, 2-0 Champlain. Heartbreaker for West Point here.
Yeah, but Champlain is, like you said earlier, really finding their first momentum here in this set. And they saw a triple commit in goal, took capitalization off of that. We saw some really great flicks from both Reverb and Billy Gates on either team. So it really, I still think this could go either way. If West Point gets a footing, that could be trouble for Champlain.
Absolutely, and with half the game left, there's plenty of time for them to try and adjust here. So far, it's been a lot of overcommitments, which have led to defensive errors, which has been the reason that Champlain have been able to take advantage. Minus the kickoff goal, or more or less kickoff goal that we saw at the beginning, and then the one defensive error, this game is tied on up. But again, it's all theoretical at this point. Right now, we got to see West Point try and play to the best of their abilities and not allow another shot in. Chaos on the back end again, but Jake and Bake misses in pretty much open net. net. That was one of the best opportunities we have seen all game, and Champlain, unfortunately, have let the floodgates open. Here come West Point, and they want to try and cut this lead in half. Good save initially, and the follow-up is off the bar. Reverb's got one more chance, but Humphreys will clear this one out, and from one missed opportunity to another, both teams get good shots on target on both ends, but neither of them can find the back of the net.
I am really elated to see these thirds make more of an intentional rotate on the back end, though. Both Humphreys and JJ kind of waiting for those opportunities and then stepping back in goal, because the worst thing that you can do is triple commit and then have it hit cross field and right into your goal. You know, you can't make it in time. Billy Gates going for the cheeky play, and it's going to go in goal! 3-0 for Champlain as they are showing dominance on this map.
What a nice touch out of Jakenbake there, too, and an even better follow-up out of Billy Gates. All around, very well done for Champlain here. This was, well, this is what we were hoping for. We mentioned coming out of game number 2 that they didn't need to just win game number 3. They needed to get momentum on their side so that they can continue the reverse sweep. And, well, they've done exactly that. 3-0 with about a minute remaining. Oh, but they're not quite done yet. Army West Point all of a sudden have a chance here off the backboard. Jakenbake in an awkward position. And Reverb shot goes off the bar. Again, this is the tale all day here. This has been the same story over and over for West Point right now. They get into their opponent's final third, but just cannot find a shot on target. This could have been such a different game, a dominant and well-done performance for Champlain, but West Point had so many chances to bring themselves back into this one.
100%. And, man, West Point, you hit the nail on the head, right? West Point had a lot of chances this game. I really feel like the second half of this game for West Point was really the second half of the first game for Champlain. It just feels like a very similar style, and they're just not making their goals. They're not able to get the touches that they want, and they're not able to hit it in goal. As I say that, Jakenbake's going to get a cheeky goal off of the backboard.
Oh, this is just chaos on the back end. I feel like, I mean, I don't want to entirely blame it on this, but I do feel like there's been less of an emphasis on defense for West Point this game. Yes, they do have 3 saves, but their opponents have double that at 6, and it just doesn't feel like West Point have played their rotations on the back end correctly here. A lot of double commits, a lot of weird opportunities. They will get a goal here, but notice they get a goal off of a double commit again. They've got to be careful of these. Too many of these double commits, and many of them are going punished.
Yeah, and the goals are open. I think that's the third goal that we've seen this game that's just been entirely open. No one's home. Doors wide open, right? And so you really have to look at the defensive options when you're playing around that.
This is a bit of an awkward game here for sure, but I will say through the smoke, through the absolute chaos, Champlain have found a way. It seems like they thrive in this little bit higher octane gameplay, and unfortunately for West Point, they just have not had the same sort of time to make these patient plays and go down 4-1 here. Champlain, a dominant performance to say the least, and now it is looking doable. There's a chance that this reverse sweep could be a very, very possible reality.
Yeah, I mean, there's really 2 options here, right? Option 1 is either the summer map just got to Champlain, they put the shaders on, and they were ready to go. Or option 2 is someone has called the night manager, and they called the janitor, and the janitor's coming in now for the reverse sweep for Champlain. It's going to go either way.
This one, I mean, I can tell you what, game number 4, if you guys thought that game number 2 was intense where we had that overtime, I can tell you game number 4 is probably going to be just as much a nail-biter unless we see the absolute turnaround out of West Point here, which, yes, again, is very possible. This is going to probably be the most intense match so far here because Champlain are on a hot streak. They've started to figure out what is going to work for them on offense. Meanwhile, West Point, this is their first chance to really make the adjustments they need after a tough loss. If they don't respond well here, game number 5 is going to be pretty easily in favor of Champlain, but I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. West Point and Champlain have looked about as even as possible, and game number 4 is going to deliver some big hits for sure.
And Jakenbake was really able to shine that game, had all the goodies with 7 shots. If he's able to pull that off again this game, I don't know. Champlain has looked very strong last game. There's a big opportunity here. I think what it's going to come down to is whoever gets the least amount of mistakes in goal, right?
Absolutely. I think that, playing a more traditional Rocket League game here is going to be pretty beneficial to both teams. Oh my word, Santa makes the save there. I'm trying to sort of process what we just saw. Very weird back and forth play, really risky from West Point, but somehow they go unpunished. It looks like we might be back to that chaotic play yet again here, Nuclear.
Yeah, and it looks like West Point's going to try to set something up in goal here. They weren't really able to get anything off that second touch. Billy Gates going off of side wall. JJ's going to be able to stop, push back downfield. It's going to go to Humphreys. Humphreys deciding to take it upfield, going around one defender. It is going to get stopped at JJ, though. JJ doing an amazing job of just setting up these great shots for Santa and Reverb. Oh, no. Ooh, Reverb able to get the shot out of goal. That was very close.
Yeah, this one seemingly is going to be exactly what we thought, a nail-biter back and forth, but probably not as high scoring as the last affair we saw. About a minute 10 into this one, and neither team has been able to hit the back of the net so far. Tense plays back and forth as they just interrupt each other for the most part. Neither team wants to allow an efficient offense to occur here. Almost a good play out of Champlain, but unfortunately, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board as this one is popped out. Reverb has a good touch out of midfield, but no follow-up from JJ. And again, back to this ping pong sort of play style. Last time we saw chaos, it really was more advantageous to Champlain. West Point have got to try and break down this play right now. They need to get some possessions and try and control this pace.
Yeah, and I think that you said it best just a minute ago. I really think that they're just both trying to shut down the offensive opportunities, because that's really what's setting up the goals in this game, is being in the right place at the right time while juking the defenders. I think that there's also a lot of style coming out from both teams, and they just need to simplify it a bit and just play off of each other's strengths like they did in the first two games.
Oh, absolutely. And with about half this game left, there's, oh my word, plenty of time to play off of those strengths. Looks like West Point want to be the first one to do so, as they almost are able to hit the back of the net. A ripper of a shot, but it does not get past the last defender, and we approach halfway point with, again, just about as much intensity as the first minute of this game. I gotta imagine the first goal we see is going to be an absolute banger. Either that or it's going to be a horrible defensive error. But as it stands right now, I'm leaning towards the first one. The offenses are starting to come alive here, and I've got to, I can't even imagine what this first goal is going to look like.
Yeah, if you're watching across the board too, a majority of players are just out of boost 90% of the time. The boost management from either team, I don't even think it's so much their boost management, it's just they're so aggressive. They're going for these opportunities when they can get them. Humphrey's going to be able to go for a goal here, but it's not going to be able to quite make it. Jake and Bake is going to be able to get the 50, push it down on West Point's side again. They're going to maintain possession and look for a play here. A pass mid. It's going to get taken by Jake and Bake, and I think you're 100% right in the sense that we're either going to see an entire huge misplay or an actual banger of a shot. Center going up. Oh, and it's barely going to miss.
Reverb almost went in there for the little bit of a redirect, which would have been absolutely stellar, but instead no touch will arrive, and we're back to this back and forth type of gameplay here. But again, we're seeing this more and more. These teams are just jumping early, trying to shut down opportunities. A missed 50 there almost led to disaster for West Point, but luckily for them, they'll survive for now. Good dunk out of Reverb is going to delay the counterattack out of Champlain, but they've got to make a touch here in the corner. Awkward play for West Point is going to leave them in a bad position. Here comes the counterattack at Champlain. Good first shot, but it's off target, but the second will not. Humphreys is able to rebound this one off the bar, the first shot, but the follow-up touch was perfect.
You could see the calculated play there, too, from Jake and Bake. He waited. He wanted to bounce it off of backboard so that Humphreys could get that second touch. They wanted to bait the defender out. Great play from Champlain with 56 seconds left on the clock. This is going to have to be a turnaround from West Point. They need to find something here and now and play with the patience that they did in the first two games.
The good thing is that we've seen West Point at least, oh my word, they're not able to tie it up, but we've seen them at least keep this game a whole lot closer than game number 3. The turnaround from Champlain was definitely disorienting to them. You can tell just by the way that they were playing. Game number 4, they've all of a sudden, well, I was going to say they found a little bit of a strategy to try and slow down West Point, but as the defense breaks down drastically here, JJ goes up, Reverb starts to go up, decides not to, then panic backflips. It is oh my word, quite a breakdown at the end of this game, but still definitely a better performance for West Point all around.
I did think Reverb was going to be able to get that off the backflip, but that play was just amazing. You know, JJ was already coming down. He was already below the ball, so there was no way he was getting back up there immediately to get to goal. Billy Gates looking like he's looking for a flip reset there, but didn't quite come out right. But we are going to see a very strong Champlain College almost getting a crazy touch on net right there. There is going to be 6 seconds left in this game, and they are going to lead it up 2-0. Are they going to be able to get another one? Billy Gates going for a shot. Gonna barely miss the mark. I'm sorry, I'm looking out. Parking lot. Yeah, the janitor just showed up. This is going to be a 2-2 set so far for Champlain and West Point. We're going to go into game 5. What are your thoughts, Bass?
Well, we're going into game 5, and honestly, at this point, I don't want to say that Champlain have all the momentum in their favor, but it seems like they do. I still think that this one could go either way. We just need to see an efficient offense against out of West Point. It's been a while since we saw them really get a banger goal that kind of just had our jaw drop here. And matter of fact, it's been a while since they've even gotten a good offense altogether. This game was just not the offense we needed to see, and while they played very well on defense, minus the one defensive error, managing 6 saves, they only managed 4 shots. Their opponents had more than double that at 10 shots. So West Point have got to come into this last game with a little bit more aggression. We understand that, the first 2 games, it was a lot about patience, making sure that they could outmaneuver their opponent, outsmart them. Now, all of a sudden, Champlain has turned up the pace. You really don't have the time to do that anymore. If you try and play too patiently with too much hesitation, they're just going to jump on you on repeat. That's what we've been talking about, cutting down those opportunities. So West Point have to change up their strategy going into this 5th game, but I do believe they can do so.
Even setting up the plays, right? Even in the first 2 games, we saw West Point with a lot of really great calculated plays going into those games. And I just feel like in the last 2 games, we haven't seen that nearly as much. So going into game 5, it's going to be a battle of who can be most adaptive, right? And we are going to start with kickoff. Looks like Billy Gates is going to win the kickoff. Humphreys McGee going up top is going to get the touch off of Reverb. Now going into West Point's side, Santa is going to be able to make a save off the side wall, but Humphreys is going to be there to pass it back to Billy Gates. Looking for an opportunity on goal, but they're not really able to quite find it yet. They are waiting to touch off of the touches on West Point's side, though. Humphreys getting a huge demo, going to be able to get them out of their side of the goal.
Back and forth already, though. You can tell that this one's going to be intense. But wait a minute, neither player recognized. Okay, JJ will shoot this one in. I thought they had wasted too much time here. After this 50-50, neither Santa nor JJ wanted to take the initial shot. JJ does rush back in time to put it on target. And luckily for West Point, they take advantage of a much-needed defensive error at the beginning of this game.
That was a great case study of map awareness from JJ. He saw that everyone was in different spots. While he didn't get the touch he wanted, he saw the opportunity and smacked it in, just like Jake and Bake did right there for a goal on the side of Champlain.
Well, it's defensive error for defensive error so far here. Reverb just can't make the touch, and it's an open net to shoot upon. Jake and Bake will not miss that shot. 40 seconds into this game, we're all tied up yet again here. Honestly, a little bit more fair. I'd prefer if these teams, they score off of incredible goals rather than offensive errors. We want to see an intense game in which both teams, win it for themselves rather than having to rely on the other team making said errors. And it looks like we are starting to get a little bit more of a breakdown of play now. Looks like they could be a bit cleaner from here on out.
Yeah, and it's not an issue of offense at all. Their offense from each team is great. It's the awkwardness of rotating back and playing in net and understanding when your rotate is to go in and out of net. Ooh, Billy going for a very great corner play. That shot going through both defenders. Let's see it again. Humphreys goes off the back wall. Billy angling it, and wow, JJ was not able to get the backflip there in time. I think, once again, even though we saw 2 in goal there, that was another defensive error.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the missed rotation. Just before that shot was put on target there, JJ pulled out a net just a little bit, and just that little bit of change is going to leave you vulnerable. That's the big thing. You need a player at the back of the net that is waiting for a shot here. Speaking of which, no one will be there. JJ again in an awkward position in front of the net. He's doing it for a 3rd time as well. JJ, unfortunately, you gotta learn, brother, stay inside the net. You can't keep pushing this far out. People will take advantage, and Billy Gates shows you exactly how it's done.
Man, oh man, yeah, you hate to see it. He was even rotating back to get in net, and he felt a little awkward because the ball was already coming. It was just that late rotate that. Oh, okay. Okay. Wow, that was a play from Billy Gates off of kickoff. He's just going to be able to get it, and we are quickly seeing Champlain take this game away. They're driving off.
All of a sudden, I think the janitor, you can hear him knocking on the door. He's letting you know it's time, guys. The reverse sweep is just about here. And, well, we thought it would be a pretty close game number 5. Unfortunately, West Point, you can see the panic setting in here after a good starting goal. They haven't really been able to get much together since, and it's been defensive breakdown after defensive breakdown. I truly do think West Point need a deep breath right now. They are just playing super uncharacteristically, and we know they can play better than this as another miss comes out on the back end. Good save out of Reverb to at least not allow in a 5th goal. But again, we need to see a completely different West Point right now. We know that this is not even close to the best of their abilities yet.
Yeah, get the ball out of West Point's corner, man. Champlain is stuffing it in their corner right now. West Point really needs to get the ball on Champlain's side to like you said, breathe that fresh breath of air. The other thing that can go into this is mentality, right? This is game 5. They lost the past 2 games. They really need someone on their team to just make that for them and be that positive beacon that they need right now.
Yeah, they need to see something go right for them because they do have 2 minutes left. 1 goal here would bring it to a 2-goal lead, which is much more manageable than a 3-goal lead. If they can get that shot in quickly, there's still a chance. But as it stands right now, a bit of a one-sided affair. Just sometimes you see this as well, Chase. I think we've mentioned this before on cast, is that sometimes the lead just gets too big. And yes, you might be able to play the rest of the game evenly or maybe even play the rest of the game in your favor. But if you give a 3-goal lead to your opponents, that's a very, very long comeback that you have to make. And with only 1:45 left, they've made it about as difficult as possible. Not a lot of time. And also, unfortunately, not a lot going in their favor. 5-1. It looks like Champlain, I hate to say it, might have just put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, the mind games coming out from Champlain is pretty much what we've seen before, right? They've done this with teams that they faced in the past, and it's nothing short of that. I really think they needed the first 2 games to just get into gear. Maybe they were driving a manual, not an automatic, and they had to shift those gears. But we're seeing West Point is not taking to it very kindly, and they really need something here. Whether it's, like we said earlier, a goal, a shot on defense, maybe this goal right here. Santa is going to be able to get something in. It still is a 3-point deficit, but they need that momentum. They need that. All right, guys, come on, that rally. Let's go. We got this.
Matter of fact, they also need a good kickoff coming up. Yes, indeed, they've got 1:23 here, 1-2-3 to try and bring back those 3 goals. But if they have a poor kickoff here, that's just time being wasted. And oh, it looks like they will get a good one. Reverb has a chance here on the wall. Bateson Humphreys gets a good 50 off the backboard. Reverb's got a shot, but a great save out of Billy Gates. JJ with a follow-up, but Humphreys has a save as well. And Champlain wasting so much necessary time there. 2 crucial saves in a row, and it might have just secured them the game.
It may have. But West Point is doing a good job of keeping it back on the other side at this point. They just need to find something really in the next couple of seconds, really shorten this game up, make it a little bit closer. Santa might find an opportunity here against Jake, but he's not going to be able to get it. Oh my gosh. This is, while, somewhat close, a nail biter for sure.
I mean, it's a nail biter, but unfortunately, I mean, it's exactly what I was mentioning probably about a minute ago. This is a very even matchup from here on out, but because of the errors at the beginning, it just wasn't doable for West Point. You think about the fact that they had 3 errors leading to 3 different goals. Without those errors, this is a tied ball game. They just gave too much of a lead to their opponents and do not have the time to bring this one back. 15 seconds left, and I think we can officially let that janitor on in. They are ready to start their job and start sweeping Champlain. Finish this one in a reverse sweep. What a performance out of Champlain.
No, don't let him in. Don't let him in. He's knocking on the door. He's coming in, he's sweeping. We're keeping the ball alive. It's not over yet. Santa's taking it up. Humphreys, and that's it. The janitor's here. All right, time to wrap it up, boys. Champlain coming through with the reverse sweep in your first game of week 5 of the NECC Rocket League Challengers Division.
Oh my word, what a game that was. From all of a sudden, game number 3, we went into that one going, it looks like, Champlain, they just don't have what it takes today. And all of a sudden, they just turned this one around, perfectly playing out the rest of the series here, dominating in game number 3 and game number 5. Just wow, well done to Champlain there. Again, good match to West Point. They actually did really bring the firepower when they needed to, but unfortunately, a couple of errors left them in a bad position and just couldn't make said comeback. GG's to Champlain and West Point, but really, I don't think it's quite setting in. A reverse sweep, Chase.
And see, that's why I love the Rocket League format. That's why I think in most competitive esports sets, it should be a best of 5 because you get that storyline, right? If it was just a best 2 out of 3, we would have been done in the first half. We would have seen a very kind of groggy Champlain just getting up, getting ready. But man, games 3, 4, and 5 were a great showing from Champlain, and West Point just wasn't able to keep that momentum, wasn't able to really keep that ferocity that they had in the first 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is not to say that West Point played poorly. It just unfortunately was 2 different things. One, West Point's original strategy just didn't really work from there on out. We saw adjustments out of Champlain that did not allow them to make said changes. So, I mean, it's that, and then the fact that Champlain just got better. Champlain just started playing well. Their offense got electric. They were taking incredible shots and suffocating their opponents. So really good play to West Point, but Champlain just outplayed them today straight up.
Yeah, I think it all breaks back down to defense. Really, both teams' offenses were amazing. West Point, we saw a couple of really amazing slam dunks for those first 2 games, but going into games 3, 4, and 5, when Champlain was able to get more of the 50s, more of the touches, keeping it in West Point's goal, we saw a very flabbergasted West Point, and they were just trying to get the setups that weren't there. They weren't playing off the touches; they were trying to play off their setups.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, that's going to be it for this very first matchup between these 2 teams. We can talk all day about what happened, but honestly, I'd rather move on to some even more Rocket League action because, guys, this is just game number 1. This is just matchup number 1. We have got plenty of action going all the way until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, so make sure to stay tuned. I believe, Nuclear, you got another cast coming up in just a moment, my friends. So we're going to go.
I believe
Oh.
I do.
Yes, you do, indeed. We're going to go to a quick little break, and when we return, Nuclear is going to be back here with, I believe, none other than the one, the only Hyperia. So stick around. We were going to have a ton more Rocket League action, but first, quick couple messages from our sponsors. So don't go anywhere. We will return in just a moment.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides. Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch it!